Good morning and welcome to the Piccalillian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. It's Week 12 and the fantasy playoffs are just around the corner, and we are here to help guide you to a championship. I'm your host, Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry. Alongside me are 25-year fantasy veterans Henry the Commish Brick and the Professor Steve Wynn. As always, we are here for you, covering all the news and injuries around the NFL and how that affects your team. We're going to get you ready for the playoffs. We have players to start, as well as we'll be taking your calls all show long. If you need any help with any of your lineups today, give us a call at 609-573-ESPN. That's 609-573-3776, and we will do all the work for you. Commish, welcome to Week 12. I hear you got a big announcement. What's going on?
Matt, I'll get right to it. We will be at the Piccalillian on Route 206 in Chemung, New Jersey for an awesome bonfire event as we watch the Eagles-Dallas game Sunday night, December 2nd. The Pick will have their big 30-foot outdoor screen out there. We'll have cornhole tournaments.
I'm gonna jump right in there. I'm told that's a beanbag game. So,
yes, that is. It is a beanbag game. We're gonna have games. We're gonna have.
You guys are wrong.
Ice cold beer, world class wings, and guess what? We get to do what we love to do: talk about fantasy football with our fans.
You know, I'm the first one to make an off-color joke, but even that one, I want to clarify. It's a beanbag game.
One.
I was out at the Pick last week for the 1 o'clock games. Brought my dad, my sons. We had a blast out there. My son Matt proclaimed them the best wings he's ever had, and I agree. You know, there's from the mouths of a 9-year-old. You know, crowd was lively. Everybody was having a good time. Everett and Bonnie are always lovely hosts. I wonder if Bonnie's calling it a bonfire. Bonnie's bonfire. I kind of like that.
It's awesome.
It's a great atmosphere, and you know what? I racked up wins in every one of my leagues for the first time this season. So booyah!
Good luck out there, huh?
I should go to the Pick every Sunday.
That's right. Wear the same underwear, and don't change it. All right, guys, let's get into the news and injuries going around the NFL.
All right, LaShawn McCoy ruled out of Monday night's game versus Carolina with a concussion. Look for Bryce Brown to carry the load in this one.
Willis McGahee is put on the IR for a knee injury last week. He can return for the playoffs, but that's the NFL playoffs. So if you got him, you can drop him.
49ers coach Harbaugh is waiting to the last minute to name the starting quarterback this week. Will it be Kaepernick or Smith?
You know what? Smith's wearing a non-contact jersey in practice all week. He's playing not cleared to play. It's not official, but Harbaugh is getting a little cute. Kaepernick's a starter. You can start him if you need him.
All right.
Okay,
he
Jake.
Looked good, too.
Yeah, he looked great against the Bears. This week he gets the Saints. I like him a lot. Jay Cutler gets the start. He passed his concussion protocol test. He's going to play against the Vikings. I'm curious to see how he performs. I'm a Jay Cutler fan, so I hope he's back.
I think he'll be back in a big way this week. Percy Harvin did not travel with the team to Chicago. He's out with a nagging ankle injury.
Well, Danny Amendola is doubtful today versus Arizona. He suffered a foot and heel injury during the Jets game. You can't rely on him. Choose someone else at wide receiver.
And McFadden and Goodson both ruled out again this week, so look for Marcel Reese to continue to carry load today versus the Bengals.
You know, that's another team that it's all about the offensive line. Anybody that's running the ball out there looks like $1 million. Marcel Reese, who dat? 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
People talking Tywan Jones and Goodson, but... man, he looked fantastic last week. Julio Jones back at practice this week, suffered an ankle injury, will play today versus the Bucs. We're going to have a little debate on that later.
Big Ben and Byron Leftwich both ruled out today. Charlie Batch gets the start for Pittsburgh.
Charlie Batch still in the league.
Yeah, and if Charlie Batch goes down, do they have another option?
They did. They went. No, they went out. They brought somebody in. They brought a receiver back, too. Who'd they bring back? Plaxico?
Oh, that's right. Plaxico Burns is back. It's right in the house.
And they brought back one of their former backups. So they have to have depth. You need to have a second quarterback.
Well, Lynn Swan's still out there, too, so maybe they can...
Franco Harris, you get the old school. And finally, Mike Vick out with a concussion.
Yikes.
The Nick Foles era continues today. He gets his second start. Business is booming in grief counseling locations throughout the tri-state region. It hurts me, man. It hurts.
Yes.
All right, well, that's the injury report brought to you by FantasyPlayerExchange.com, the only place to go for multi-sport daily fantasy. Sign up now and play against our very own Henry Brick in the Beat the Commish game. Every new account gets a $10 credit, and it's only $2 to play each week. If you beat the commish by the largest margin, you collect $50, and at the end of the season, the person beating the commish by the largest margin gets $1,000. Sign up today at fantasyplayerexchange.com. Speaking of which, commish, how'd you do last week?
I got crushed last week, and it's only because Nick Foles killed me and everyone else in Philly. But I did manage to beat our very own Ray the Judge Jaffe, who's been killing me lately. So, by the way, you can hear Judge Ray Jaffe on our waiver wire show, Block Talk Radio, Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock with Jumpin' John Brevo.
I filled in for Ray this week. He was traveling for the holidays, and we do have a standing bet that anytime you beat somebody in our staff league by 150 points, you get to do their show for them. So, yes. That's my way of saying I whomped on Judge Ray, who is a very good
Serves him right,
player.
too, Professor. Thank you.
But I do have to ask, you say you beat Ray, who was number one last week, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
he got the $50. But you didn't say where you actually ranked.
I know where he ranked. Can I do this? This
Sure,
will be fun
sure.
for me.
Go right ahead, Professor.
He was second to last.
No, third
to last.
Third to last. Yeah, but I tell you, Nick Foles. You take that out of the mix, I would have won.
So
Nick Foles killed me. How does Nick Foles kill
everyone
me?
listening out there, think how easy that is to beat the commish when everyone but two people beat him last week.
It would have been an easy win if I have any other player but Nick Foles. It's like unbelievable. So I'm not a Nick Foles fan.
All right. Well, the challenge has been issued. When we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines and start taking any of your last-minute lineup questions. Give us a call, 609-573-ESPN. You're listening to the Piccalillian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show here on 97.3 ESPN.
Check it out. Move if you got the nerve.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
Fantasy football owners, it's draft time, and kickassfantasyfootball.com makes it easy.
How do we make it easy?
Projections from the experts, cheat sheets with your scoring rules.
What else?
Articles all season long, waiver wire picks, trade advice, everything you need to win a championship.
How about a free judgment from fantasyjudgment.com, a $15 value?
Now we're talking.
Subscribe today for just $9.95, and we'll throw in a complimentary cruise for 2 to the Bahamas.
Cruise to a championship with kickassfantasyfootball.com.
We're famous for a buffalo wing. The Piccalilli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccalilli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great drinks where everybody is a friend. If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalillian.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick Burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemong. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalillian.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Fantasy Football, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the Professor, the Commish, and Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry for the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain sucks? The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. On the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Yeah, kickassfantasyfootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pick-A-Lillian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry, alongside the Commission, the Professor. Hey, I want to remind everyone to check out our website. You can get all this great information there. It's kickassfantasyfootball.com. Sign up today. We're using promo code FANTASY and get 50% off our regular subscription rates. We're going to open up the phone lines at 609-573-ESPN. That's 609-573-3776. So give us a call with any last-minute lineup help that you might need.
Now, man, I do want to jump in here.
Sure.
We talked in the last segment about the Beat the Commish game, and the Commish, in addition to playing that game, does play in the regular games on Fantasy Player Exchange out there. Starting with, you can start with a $2 or a $5 bet. He built up a $458 bank over the season with, starting with just $2 in the other games that are played. So we beat up on him for the Beat the Commish stuff, but you folks can go out there if you think you know who's a good reach play, a good a good sleeper. You get him in there, you can make a nice little chunk of change, a little bit of Christmas money.
You can definitely make some money because the commish sucks. So if he can do it, my God,
$458 is nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they have the free roll in there. They have the for just $2 you can win 18 if you play against the you have head-to-head games. You play just against 5 people. A lot of different games for just $2 that you can end up. Keep rolling and making some nice little Christmas money fun for yourself. Nice.
Right, and I'm telling you, if you could, Commish is nothing special. So if he can do it,
wow. Hey, especially, you know what? If your fantasy season's over because you're in the tag right now and you have no shot of making the playoffs, check out fantasyplayerexchange.com. Your season will continue for as little as $2. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and you can listen to my deep reaches and my picks of the week. They're always
nice little plug there.
I'm always plugging myself. Are you kidding?
All right, well, guys, now it is time for my favorite part of the show. It is time for the Dude, I'm Sorry. Hey, this is where we admit who we messed up on last week. Professor, why don't you start us out? Who are you sorry for?
You know what? Everything Eagles went south last week. Nick Foles, the commish complained about how he ruined his day at the Fantasy Player Exchange. Well, he ruined my day picking players on the show. I knew he was a long shot. I called him the pick of the week, though, against that bad Redskins D, and he stunk. I'm a guy who bleeds green, but the Eagles have made me bleed out this year. For that, dude, I'm sorry.
Garbage! Garbage! Jimmy, we already got a turkey. Yeah, it's for Broadway.
I love that. That's good stuff. Well, man, I tell you, I'm really sorry about jumping back on my former man crush play, Sean Green. I really liked him last week, and he ended up with just 64 yards rushing, and he was outshined by Bilal Powell, who ran well and caught the ball well out of the backfield. And he scored a touchdown. For that, dude, I'm sorry.
Thanksgiving musical.
All right. Just get your turkey to stop crapping all over the dressing room and come out for rehearsal. I'll take care of everything.
I have a feeling, Professor, you spoke to Scott, our producer, to pick the sound effects today.
Bit of a fan of South Park, so yeah.
All right. All right, well, that's enough feeling sorry about ourselves. It is time for Who We Hit the Slam Dunk on. Commish, who you demand about for last week?
Matt, I'm glad you asked. I loved quarterbacks named Andy last week. They paid off in a big way. Andy Dalton and Andrew Luck combined for 591 yards and 5 touchdowns. Both gave stud-like performances. Yes, I'm the man.
Whoa.
Her feathers are beautiful.
That's the prettiest turkey I ever saw.
You are, Commish, you are the prettiest turkey I ever saw. It's a beautiful thing. You know what? Except for everything Eagles, I had a fine day last week. My best pick, though, is one where the commission and I disagreed strongly. The commission, the quarterback, said there was no running game in Cincy, and I had the law firm as a must-start in my running backs. So Ben Jarvis Green Ellis not only produced, he was 4th in yardage, got you a touchdown, broke the 100-yard mark. For those of you following along at home, I am the man.
Turkey shoot! Jesus, no!
Damn it!
All right, well, that's great. That's great stuff, guys. And I have to, man, you only gave us one for you, the man. normally you run down your entire roster and check off everybody that you might have mentioned or hinted about or what's going on, Professor.
Broad, except for the Eagles, I had a fine day last week. Okay. I mentioned that I whomped on the judge by 150. I beat the best team in our league by and knocked him out of that spot. Well, so I had a nice week last week.
You did, but you plugging yourself so much you could go blind. So be careful.
All right, guys. Well, now it is time to get into our Pick-a-Lily picks of the week for Week 12. Oh man, and this is listen. You know you got to start Aaron Rodgers. You know the studs that you have to start week in and week out. But these are guys that can help you a little further down on the list if you need a win this week. So these are the Pick-a-Lily picks of the week. Let's start out with quarterback. Professor, what do you got?
Okay, you know what? I got to fill in on the Tuesday show this week, and I was all over Colin Kaepernick as a waiver wire ad. Coaching is everything in the NFL. The kid has one of the best. He gets a cream puff defense like the Saints. I am certain that Kaepernick is going to get the start this week for the 49ers, and he should get the start for you.
Good stuff. I got Jay Cutler versus the Vikings. He's back, he's home, and Vikings defense is bad, and they gave up the 7th most points to quarterbacks and about 3 touchdowns a week. Love Cutler this week.
Okay, the commish is not monopolizing the Andes this week. I'm taking Andy Dalton against a Raiders pass D that makes everyone look a little bit better, so get him in your lineup.
Andrew Luck versus Buffalo. I have him here almost every week.
Andy again.
Yeah. He is home this week where he has been averaging about 300 yards a game lately, and Buffalo's secondary is shaky at best. Strong start for Luck.
All right.
Okay, and I also got Matt Ryan. He's the big play at quarterback this week. He plays Tampa Bay, who gives up the 2nd most fantasy points to the quarterback. A monster matchup for Matt Ryan this week.
You know what? Matt Ryan had a bad week last week, but picking Matt Ryan is like saying Wilt Chamberlain has a good shot to get laid tonight. You know, that's that's not the most amazing pick you could throw out there, Commish. I'm a little disappointed. I'm going against the grain. I'm going to say Joe Flacco has a good day, despite traveling out to the West Coast.
All right, moving on to tight end. How about Dwayne Allen versus Buffalo? He could be Luck's best friend in this one, as the Bills give up the 5th most fantasy points to the tight end.
Okay, Brandon Myers has been good to me for a couple weeks in a row. I'm sticking with him against a Cincy D that allows the 5th most fantasy production to tight ends.
Tony Gonzalez versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. Gonzo should find the end zone and a lot of yards in this one. Great start at tight end this week.
Jermichael Finley gets a great matchup. The Giants are the most generous team to the opposing tight ends in recent weeks. This has a potential to be a game of the week. Finley's hot. Get him in your lineup.
Vernon Davis versus the Saints. Saints give up the most points to the tight end in the league, so no matter who is starting at quarterback, Davis should go off.
Okay, you know what? We already had 3 games Thursday. I'm out of interesting tight ends, so I'm going off script and giving you a waiver wire D with a great matchup. The Carolina Panthers face a team who is allowing sacks and turning the ball over in bunches. They are a great play, not mentioning the team they're playing, but they are a great play today.
All right, well, when we come back...
the Eagles.
Yes. All right, well, when we come back, we got more of the Pick-a-Lily picks of the week to get through. We're also going to still have our studs, duds, and sleepers, as well as our reaches of the week. You are listening to the Pick-a-Lily Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show here on 97.3 ESPN.
Fantasy football owners, it's draft time, and KickassFantasyFootball.com makes it easy.
How do we make it easy?
Projections from the experts, cheat sheets with your scoring rules.
What else?
Articles all season long, waiver wire picks, trade advice, everything you need to win a championship.
How about a free judgment from FantasyJudgment.com, a $15 value?
Now we're talking.
Subscribe today for just $9.95, and we'll throw in a complimentary cruise for 2 to the Bahamas.
Cruise to a championship with KickassFantasyFootball.com.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Pick-a-Lily. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Pick-a-Lily. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop You can't stop it, stop back. The Pickle-Lily-Inn.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick Burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemong. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccole-Inn.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
Fantasy football, the kick-ass fantasy football show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the professor, the commish, and fantasy insider Matt Lowry for the kick-ass fantasy football show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain sucks? The kick-ass fantasy football show. On the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Yeah, kickassfantasyfootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Piccalilli Inn Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Matt Lowry, alongside Henry the Commish Brick and the Professor Steve Wynn. And we're doing what we love, that is talking fantasy football. If you got any questions, give us a call, 609-573-ESPN. That's 609-573-3776. All right, let's get back to our Piccalilli Picks of the Week and talk about some wide receivers. What do you got for us, Commish?
Wide receiver Brandon Marshall faces the Vikings at home. He gets Cutler back, and he faces a defense that gives up the 4th most fantasy points to the wide receiver. Should go off today.
Okay, Randall Cobb has been one of my success stories all season. He gets the spotlight in a game against a very beatable Giants pass defense. Love him.
Stevie Johnson, the Buffalo Bills wide receiver, faces the Colts today. He will be Fitzpatrick's big target most of the game as the Bills... the Colts give up about 200 yards a game at the wide receiver position.
Bills, really? You meant Colts, right? Yeah,
y'all are like
I know y'all are like a little punch drunk today with the whole. But did y'all hit the eggnog a little hard on Thanksgiving and it's been carrying over?
Smart eggnog.
All right,
helps you out during football.
High stress couple of weeks for the commissioner. Reggie Wayne's another one of my guys that I loved in the preseason. He really panned out. He gets the Bush League Bills defense, too. Great start. Love picking on that defense.
Absolutely. Nate Washington versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember last week when Andre Johnson lit them up? Nate may not get over 200 yards receiving, but he should find the end zone in this one.
You know what? The commission and I going for the same games, different players. I got an interesting stat for you, Commish. Kenny Britt owns the Jags in games played where he's not suspended or injured. So this week he's not suspended or injured, so play him.
Nice. That's a good stat. Let's go on the running backs. LaRod Stevens-Howling faces the Rams. They give up an average of about 108 yards rushing to opposing quarterbacks. He could have a nice game in this one.
Okay, I am digging Ahmad Bradshaw this week against the Packers. I know that he's sharing some carries, but as mediocre as the Giants have been, they do seem to get themselves up for big games. This is a big game. Ahmad Bradshaw is a good play.
Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, the law firm faces the Raiders. Teams have been running all over the Raiders as they give up the 4th most fantasy points to the running back.
Okay, I'm gonna just say I feel dirty throwing this name out there. Chris Johnson.
What?
Was a great matchup this week. I know. So hard to recommend Chris Johnson, and now that I finally recommended him, he will throw a clunker. But
he's got. I have a feeling. I can see the future. Next week's dude, I'm sorry, will be I said Chris Johnson.
You know what? It's hard to throw his name out there as a pick of the week. He's been so frustrating. He is the most notorious fantasy team killer of the last 2 years as a start. I feel more like an accomplice than a professor.
You should. How about Doug Martin versus Atlanta? Martin was on fire just a couple short weeks ago. I think the flame gets turned back up this week versus the Falcons as they give up the 8th most fantasy points to the running back.
Kamish, the law firm, and Doug Martin. Are you just recycling my picks from last week? Come on. I'm going to go with somebody new this week. How about C.J. Spiller? Spiller should be the feature back. There should be no question that he's the guy, and Fred Jackson is the complimentary guy, but they try to force it into Fred Jackson's hands. They need the win. C.J. Spiller should be the featured back, hands down. Got to get him in the game today.
All right, great stuff there. So there are our Piccalilli picks of the week, but we got one more set of Piccalilli picks to go through. Everett, our favorite bartender, there from the Pick, is on the phone to talk about his picks of the week. Everett, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Everett. Yeah, I was out with Everett at the Pick last week. I took my glasses off. I was watching the Eagles-Redskins game and just decided that it was too painful to see. So, and Everett's our big Redskins fan here. So you got to be happy with that outstanding victory on Sunday.
I can. I can also hope I'm the biggest Green Bay fan you could ever ask for today.
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
That's gonna be a little tough for you over there at the Pick. I know you got a couple guys at the bar that are big Giants fans. So
I know, but they all the guys that are regulars and the guys that I see all the time, they're really good guys. They all know the deal. I mean, and listen, if Green Bay wins, we play New York next week for the divisional lead.
Wow.
Nah, that's beautiful.
Is that mediocre record versus mediocre record? I mean, wow.
Yeah, well, that's there's somebody's going to win the NFC East with an 8-8 or a 9-7 record this season, and they did last season.
That's what it's looking like.
Nobody can break out. I think the Redskins might be 2 years away from being the dominant team in the division, but that's still a couple years to go. But Everett will be a happy guy for a few years, I think.
That sounds like the case.
So Everett, who you got at quarterback this week?
At quarterback this week, I have Andrew Luck versus the Buffalo Bills. I mean,
excellent pick.
I'm a little weary over the fact that it is in Buffalo. Am I correct on that?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little weary about playing outdoors and being in an away game. But Andrew Luck, he showed poise this year. It is against Buffalo's defense. I feel like he's going to have a good day.
Okay. How about a running back? Who you got going today there?
I have to go with that man out in San Francisco, that ginormous wrecking ball, or that tiny wrecking ball, I guess, Frank Gore. He's a big back. He's always been the guy there. He's going to get his carries, and I think today he's going to be even bigger because, one, obviously the quarterback problems. So if it isn't Alex Smith, he has to be the leader on the offense. I saw something last week where he was already checking out of a play. So he's obviously the leader on that team on offense, and that's what they're going to be looking for, a big day. And, well, the Saints defense, like we talked about last week, is absolutely atrocious. They're averaging, I think, somewhere in the 150-yard mark of per week against fantasy running backs.
Now, let me ask you this, Everett, because I did consider Frank Gore as one of my picks of the week, and I backed off of him because Colin Kaepernick can get it done on the ground. He does run the ball a lot. So you think there's any risk of Kaepernick eating into some of those rushing plays as designed quarterback rushes?
I also was thinking that as well. I'm thinking maybe at a most a handful, maybe 5 at a max. And if they don't turn up as a producing play, or if they don't work out somehow in the first couple, they might stay away from it and give it to Frank Gore because they can't afford to have this quarterback thing flip flop every week.
True.
So I have a feeling that they're going to try to either avoid it altogether, or if it works out, then maybe.
Okay,
well, let me tell you, Everett's starting to sound like a pro. He's coming with all kinds of reasons.
We'll have to have you pull up a chair with us there, Everett. That's good stuff, man.
I got to chat some football with Everett at the bar last week. He knows his stuff. He is not just playing around out there. Finally, receivers, Everett. Who you got?
Wide receivers. I mean, I was going to go again with the guys from San Francisco. Michael Crabtree should have a big day against the Saints. Against Kirkpatrick. You say that he can get it done. I feel like he should produce with the situation that's going on.
Crabtree, yeah, so stacking up on the 49ers.
Yeah, no, that's against the Saints D. You have to, and with Kaepernick throwing the ball, you have to give the passing game a little bit of an upgrade. Love those picks, Everett. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I was out at the Pick last week. We had a blast out there. It is worth the drive to the Piccadilly Inn on Route 206 in Chemung, New Jersey. The wings are world class. Everett will take care of you at the bar. Every NFL game is up on the screen. We were in a room. We had 4 screens going in our room. My son, who is somehow a Cardinals fan, was enjoying the Cardinals game on one screen. I was not enjoying the Eagles game on another screen, but we had a good time out there, and Everett and Bonnie certainly treated us right. So make the trip out to the Pick. If you're not going to stay in, bring some wings home. Enjoy the game. And have a great Sunday. Everett, always great to have you on the show. Anything else you need to share?
Yeah, I have a huge day for anybody coming out on December 2nd, late night. Or not really late night, but just later in the day. Maybe if you're hanging out, watching a 4 o'clock game, and you're hanging out at the bar, want to do something, we're having cornhole tournaments starting at 6 o'clock for the late game. We're gonna make it a big old party, bonfire outside. It's going to be a huge deal for the late game on December the 2nd.
Really looking forward to that, Everett. We're going to watch the Eagles play Dallas on the big screen outside. Ice cold beer, world-class wings. It's all good, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll be there. The Tuesday night guys will be there, so we'll have a good presence from the fantasy football empire here at Kick-Ass Fantasy Football. And again, if you want to come out, have a couple questions, last chance before the playoffs, get your team all squared away. Good stuff.
All right.
That's it. Sounds good, guys.
Thanks for the call, Everett. And,
no problem.
And I applaud you guys for not making the jokes with the whole cornhole tournament. I guess you're starting to sober up a little bit as the show goes on.
Clarified it earlier. I'm not making the joke. It is a beanbag tournament. Don't be frightened. Come on out and play.
All right. Hey, if you got any questions that you need any help with your lineup, give us a call, 609-573-ESPN. That's 609-573-3776. And let's go to the phones now. We got Eugene from Buena on the phone. Eugene, welcome to the show.
As soon as they said that thing about the cornhole tournament, I knew that Eugene had dropped his bacon. So he's calling for some bacon reimbursement.
Good, Eugene. How you doing, buddy?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, pal.
Yeah, having my bacon this morning, my favorite dish. I moved from last to third place with the help of the professor and the commission.
Nice.
I think we just got a wrap, and I got top billing, so I'm digging that all around.
That's good stuff.
Okay, now, looking at my wide receivers this weekend, should I throw Jackson in that, Deshaun Jackson, or Lance Moore in there this weekend?
You know what? I got to go Lance Moore. I don't like the Eagles passing game at all today.
Yeah, Lance Moore is definitely the play here. I like the matchup. You can pass on San Francisco, and they're going to have to with that defense coming at them. So, and I just given up. Nick Foles is just dreadful. Eagles offensive line dreadful. It's hard to trust Deshaun.
And no LaShawn McCoy. I mean, they're not even taking the pressure off of the passing game. They are really going to say Nick Foles beat us, and he can't. He is just not very good. So it's going to be a painful day for those of us that bleed green.
You guys been a big help, and I'm going to get down the road there. You guys right down the road from me, so I'm going to get down the road and see you.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, man, come out and meet us at the Pick, December 2nd. Eugene, we'd love to meet you, man. Share a nice cold beer.
Yeah, I am, because I love them wings they got down there.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Okay, guys.
All right, man. Have a great day. Good luck.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Chris from Millville on the phone. Chris, welcome to the show. What's your question?
Hey, I was trying to figure out, I'm going back and forth between Michael Turner and Ahmad Bradshaw this week. Turner's killed me the last couple of weeks with his performances, and I don't know who I'm going to put in there today.
Yeah, I had Turner as a dud last week. The wheels are starting to fall off of that one. I like Ahmad Bradshaw's matchup. I like the fact that the Giants get up for big games. They're kind of like the Eagles used to be when they were good. Taking another shot at the Eagles there.
Yeah, it's sad.
They play up to the competition, and sometimes they play down to the competition. So while Bradshaw does have some carries to share, I think he's a much better play.
Yeah, you guess what? Tampa actually isn't terrible against the run, so or is decent against run. So Bradshaw definitely the better play at home versus Green Bay here.
All right,
appreciate it, guys.
All right, good luck today, Chris.
All right, well, when we come back, we still have our reaches of the week and our studs, duds, and sleepers to get through. You are listening to the Piccadilly Inn Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show here on 97.3 ESPN.
Fantasy Football. The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the Professor, the Commish, and Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry for the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain sucks? The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. On the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Yeah, kickassfantasyfootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Fantasy football owners, it's draft time, and kickassfantasyfootball.com makes it easy.
How do we make it easy?
Projections from the experts, cheat sheets with your scoring rules.
What else?
Articles all season long, waiver wire picks, trade advice, everything you need to win a championship.
How about a free judgment from fantasyjudgment.com, a $15 value?
Now we're talking.
Subscribe today for just $9.95 and we'll throw in a complimentary cruise for two to the Bahamas.
Cruise to a championship with kickassfantasyfootball.com.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Piccalilli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccalilli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great drinks where everybody is a friend. If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalilli Inn.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick Burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemong. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalilli Inn.
And welcome back to the Piccalilli Inn Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Hey, the phone lines are open. If you need any help from our experts, give us a call. The number is 609-573-ESPN. That's 609-573-3776. You can also check out our website, kickassfantasyfootball.com, to help get your lineup set. A lot of great stuff out there. All right, and we normally talk about bye weeks this week, but thank God there are no bye weeks.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's over. Everybody should have their full staff on the field every game, so no excuses.
All right. Well, with that said, so let's get into our reaches of the week. Hey, these are guys farther down. If you got some injuries, you need some guys that you got to plug in right now and get in there to help you win and get into the playoffs. These are guys that can do it for you. What do you got for us, Commish?
Well, before the Commish gets into his, we do have one reach of the week from last week. It deserves a little shout-out. Apparently, Matt is the master of the fried turkey and did the deep fried turkey for the gang, and
awesome.
that was the topic of conversation while we were out on commercial.
Yes.
That reach of the week last week hit. So,
yes. Good old Southern boy here. I know how to fry just about anything.
Yes, you do.
Turkeys included.
Unbelievable turkey. That was the topic of conversation at our dinner. I was like, I miss Matt's turkey. Gave me the look of death, so probably something I should have said. Anywho, my reach of the week, Ronnie Hillman gets a huge opportunity with Willis McGahee out the rest of the season. He was snatched up on the waiver wire in most leagues this week, and against the Chiefs this week, he could pay off in a big way.
Yeah, I love that pick. He is a great play this week. I have been knocking it out of the park with my reaches lately. James Starks and Anquan Bolden both produced for you last week. This week, I am doing the equivalent of a triple Lindy as I pick, yes, Chris Beanie Wells to produce. I'm going to be honest, this looks like a dumb play after LaRod Stevens-Howlings put up a huge day last week. but I don't think Ken Wisenhunt cares how dumb it looks. I've seen him coach for a few years now. Beanie starts. You have to remember he put up a 228-yard day last time he faced the Rams.
Right.
He's a good reach.
Good stuff. How about Jalen Parmalee gets the nod over Rashad Jennings for the Jaguars this week. He plays the Titans, who give up the second most fantasy points to running back. So a great reach if you need him.
If Julio Jones does not play this week or is limited today, Harry Douglas is a nice reach if you need a plug-in for the week. Harry Douglas he's been around. He is almost certainly out there on the waiver wires. Jones has to be giving fantasy owners a little bit of agita. Harry Douglas is a nice little plug if you need that flex or third receiver.
Agita.
Agita.
I like that. I think that might be the word of the day. Agita.
Agita.
Okay, that's why you are the professor. Agita.
Yes. Well, I couldn't come up with the long prognosticating picks.
Okay, so we go with agita. All right, let's go back to the phone lines though. We got Mark on the phone. Mark, welcome to the show. What's your question?
Jones of Green Bay or Lance Moore?
Oh,
James Jones or Lance Moore? Who do you like?
That is a tough one, and we've already gone Lance Moore once today. I'm going to go James Jones here, though. He's got some issues, but the Giants' pass defense is pretty weak. I love Randall Cobb, but I do like James Jones too.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with the professor on this one. I'm going to go Lance Moore. I do like the matchup better against San Francisco at home. Green Bay's traveling or on the road. There's a chance that Jennings does come back. So you got Randall Cobb going. You got Jordy Nelson in there. I think Lance Moore is going to be will get targeted a little bit more in this one.
Well, you got a split decision, Mark. Sorry.
Good luck, buddy.
Hey, well, good problem to have, but because both should have good days today, right?
Lance Moore should have a good day. I like James Jones upside just a little bit more. That's
I'll flip a coin. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. So we have callers calling in the show, and when they're done listening to your opinions, they decide to flip a coin. Good job, guys. You're knocking it out of the park.
I really thought our listeners had learned to go with me when we disagreed, but that's fine. If that's how Mark wants to go, that's okay.
All right. Well, if you need any lineup help and hopefully get some information to keep you from having to flip a coin to decide who to start in your lineups, give us a call 609-573-ESPN. That's 609-573-3776. All right, guys. I want to do something a little different for our under-over segment. Instead of me throwing out stats and you tell me if they're going over or under, because we all know the commission just goes over on everything, I thought I'll give you a matchup and you tell me who's the better play this week, who's going to get it done better. So who gets more carries this week, Gore or Hunter, Professor?
Oh, Frank Gore gets more carries, but if you need a flex play, Kendall Hunter is not a bad guy to throw in there as a deep guy.
Yeah, I agree. Gore is definitely the main ball carrier here. We'll get more carries, but Hunter's a great flex play this week with a great matchup against Saints.
All right. How about Steven Jackson or Richardson? Who's going to get it done? Kamish?
Yeah, I like Steven Jackson a lot in this one. I think I've been down on him most of the year, but I think Steven Jackson gets it done in a big way, gets over 100 yards. Richardson, I think, will be very limited, so Steven Jackson all the way.
I'm actually going to split decision here. I think Steven Jackson gets more carries, but Richardson gets more yards. He's more productive, and he's going to get you better points in the game.
All right. Let's talk about Turner Rogers. Who do you think gets it done there?
You know what? I've been calling the wheels falling off of the Turner bus all year, and they finally have. I like Jacquizz Rodgers as an upside play today quite a bit.
Yeah, I do too. Rodgers seems to be good. I think he's the future there for Atlanta. Turner is definitely the wheels are definitely falling off. So Rodgers, I think, will get it done big time today.
All right, and then let's just talk about the Giants, Bradshaw or Brown. Who's getting it done today? Commish, what do you got?
You know what? Bradshaw will obviously be the main ball carrier, but I think Brown will continue to vulture those goal line carries to get the touchdown. So I like Bradshaw to get more carries, but I like Brown to get more touchdowns.
You know what? That's hard to argue with. I do like Bradshaw to get more opportunities. If he can score the long ones, he's got it. But once they're inside the 5, Commissioner's right. It's Andre Brown.
All right, and let's talk about some quarterbacks. These are some of our matchups going up, and who is going to get more passing yards, Eli or Rodgers, Professor?
Oh, that's an easy one. That's Aaron Rodgers. Eli, mediocre at best this year.
Wow. You know what? Rodgers definitely has the bigger arm of the two. I'm going to agree, but I think it'll be close. I think closer than you think, only because they're home. Giants are home.
Okay, Palmer or Dalton? I know y'all been big on the Andes. Do you say big on the Andes? What do you got, Commish?
Well, you know what? Dalton's been hot lately. Palmer's been throwing it up a bunch. So I think more passing yards go to Palmer. I think Dalton gets more touchdowns.
That's an interesting one. I do think that Cincinnati's a far better team than the Raiders right now, which means I think Palmer's going to be playing from behind the whole game and throwing a lot more. So I'm going Palmer there.
Oh, wow. All right. We got Ryan versus Freeman in the division going up against each other. What do you got, Professor?
Now, the commish was dead on with his pick earlier. Matt Ryan is a solid play.
Yeah, Matt Ryan is
the wilt of the NFL at quarterback this year.
Yes, Matt Ryan definitely the better player for Freeman this week.
All right, and here's the one that really gets me. Breeze versus Kaepernick. I mean, can San Francisco's backup quarterback, he showed he has an arm. He can fire that ball down the field. Can you hang with Breeze? What do you think, Professor?
Not only can he hang with Breeze, I think he outperforms Breeze today.
Wow.
Going point blank with that. I got Kaepernick as a must start. I'm going to spoil a little bit ahead of time. Drew Brees is my dud today. He's playing a good defense. He's still going to be a starter or a quarterback one, but he'll be a low end one. He's going to underperform a little bit. So I like Kaepernick. I love the upside.
Wow, that's great stuff. Although I think Breeze gets more passing yards than Kaepernick today.
All right, and then let's talk Foles Cam. Can it get worse? Bad versus worse?
It could be Charlie Batch playing in it. So
and let's say, you are big Eagles fans. I'm a big Carolina fan, and they're on Monday night, which should be a huge game versus our teams. And does anybody care?
I don't think a whole lot of people care. This is one that only their mothers are going to watch. So Cam is by far the better play. A little bit more to prove. I think the Eagles have thrown in the towel for the season.
Yeah, Cam definitely is going to rock it on Monday night, which I will be there, as a matter of fact.
All right. Good stuff. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We got Kevin from Delaware on the phone. Kevin, welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. Great show. I'm stuck trying to decide. It's a double flex in my league, PPR. Dwayne Bowe, Sidney Rice, or Michael Crabtree, who I'm pretty sure is going to take one of the two.
And so you need 2 out of the 3?
Yeah,
pretty much.
I love Michael Crabtree. Great matchup with the Saints. And I think you got to go Rice here versus Miami, only because tough to run on Miami, and teams are passing an average of, I believe, over 40 times against Miami every week. So Rice is going to be targeted a lot, and I do not trust Brady Quinn ever in life. So to me, ends Bo's season. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Crabtree's the best play. Bo is by far the worst. So Rice is your second guy.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, thanks for the call. And if you have any questions, we got just a few minutes left here. We can help you with your Week 12 lineup. Give us a call, 609-573-ESPN. That's 609-573-3776. Let's go back to the phones. We got Josh on the phone. Josh, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. I have a wide receiver question.
All right.
I have to start 3 of the 4. I have Julio Jones, Deshaun Jackson, Lance Moore, and Andre Roberts.
Ooh. Well, you definitely got to go Julio in this one. We like Lance Moore a lot. I think it comes down to between Andre Roberts, Deshaun Jackson. Professor, what do you think?
As much as I don't like the Eagles today, I do think that Deshaun is a much better play than Andre Roberts. So I would go Deshaun there.
I'm going to agree with the professor on this one, Josh. Roberts just is not getting it done. Matter of fact, being outplayed, not getting a ton of snaps. So I think you got to bench him.
All right. Appreciate the question there, Josh. Let's go back to the phone lines. We got Elliot from Delaware on the phone. Elliot, welcome to the show.
Good morning, fellas. I got a question. I got 2 spots open and 3 players. I got Ahmad Bradshaw, Ryan Matthews, and Eric Decker.
Yeah, sure. Ooh, you know what? That is actually a tough call. I do like all 3 of those players today. So I would say that Bradshaw is the best of the 3. Is it a PPR league?
No, standard league.
You know what? I'm going to go with Matthews. The Ravens defense can be run on. So I think he's a slightly better play. Love Decker today, though. Love him as a play.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bradshaw and Decker. Matthews is still splitting carries, so based on that, and I can't trust him. I just cannot trust him. The guy's a walking injury. I think I'd have to go Decker there.
All right.
Oh, one more quick question.
Sure, yeah.
In another league, still standard scoring, I got Parmalee and I got Darren Sproles, and Sproles is playing, but I don't like the matchup. Who do you think's better out of those two?
Yeah, I mean, Sproles does have that tough matchup against the 49ers, and Parmalee, guess what? At home against Tennessee, getting the start over Jennings. I think I'm going Parmalee on this one.
Yeah, the Titans' pass defense is absolutely horrendous, so you can see Chad Henne having a very nice day, but Parmalee is a very solid play. I like him.
All right.
Thank you, fellas.
Thanks for the call,
All right,
Elliot.
good luck today, man.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Mark from Bridgeton on the phone. Mark, welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Hey, guys. Nice talking to you again. Good show, as usual.
Thank you.
Wide receiver question. There's a lot of garbage out there.
Yeah.
At least they did me a favor, and they said Harvin wasn't playing.
Yeah.
So I got time for a move here. My choices are Hartline, Tate, Stokely, Blackman, and Bess.
Ooh,
That's non-PPR, so, touchdowns and yardage, basically.
I would say that you're down to Golden Tate and Justin Blackman, and Justin Blackman has got a real high ceiling with Chad Henne as the quarterback. So, if you're looking for scoring in bunches, I can't imagine that Blackman didn't get picked up after his amazing week last week, but you go get him.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
Well,
Blackman
that
is.
tells you all you need to know. No one else is as bad shape as I am.
Yeah. Blackman's not a bad pickup, but yeah, Tate's getting the touchdowns lately too, and a little bit more consistent. So I think you can couldn't go wrong either way.
You really can't run on Miami either, right? I guess you guys were saying that.
Yeah, I mean,
People
they're
been throwing
going
on
to be
the Dolphins
passing
a little bit.
exactly. Yeah, the average of 40 a game. So
Yeah.
Tate's not a bad pickup either.
I think the question here for you is, if you're playing to win it all and you're in a bad situation, go with Blackman. He's got a lot higher upside. If you just need the solid 10 points, go with Tate.
Right. Okay. I'm thinking long term a little bit because we all make the playoffs.
Okay.
So maybe Blackman might be, like you said, maybe a little higher ceiling from here on out. So
That's my opinion. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right, Mark.
Good luck today, and good talking to you.
Good talking to you. Thanks.
Wow, and actually said that we had a good show, which let me tell you guys were awful today. But let's go back to the phone lines. We got Eric from EHD on the phone. Eric, welcome to the show.
Yeah, love your show. Listen, I'm in a standard league, and I need 3 out of these 4.
Okay.
Reggie Wayne, Brandon Marshall, Vincent Jackson, or Jimmy Graham.
Wow.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Well,
isn't that a nice problem to have?
You got to go Wayne. He's been huge all year. That's a no-brainer. Marshall, he gets Cutler back today at home against Minnesota. Minnesota's got a lot of defensive players down. I think Marshall blows it up. It's between V-Jack and Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham's got a decent matchup against the Saints. What do you think, Professor?
I disagree. Jimmy Graham is on the Saints. He's
Yeah,
got the,
against the 49ers. I'm sorry. Against the 49ers.
I don't like that matchup. I do like the Niners linebackers. It is a tough call, but I would go with V-Jax over Graham.
All right, cool. I appreciate that.
All right, you got it. Thanks for the card.
Well, man, that what a great team to have. That's your problem?
That's rocking, man.
Wow. Hate to be facing you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right, it is time to get into our studs, duds, and sleepers for Week 12. Hey, these are the guys that are going to get it done or you need to stay away from, but they will help you out. Commish, who is your stud of the week?
My stud of the week has to be Julio Jones. I know what you're thinking. He's been hurt, but he did return to practice, and he plays his best football on the road. And guess what? He's on the road against Tampa Bay. I love him today.
Okay, well, I am tempted to call Justin Blackman my stud of the week this week. The Titans' pass D is that bad.
Wow.
Penny is under center, and Blackman had his coming out party last week, but I'm not that bold. So I'm going with A.J. Green. He faces the equally awful Raiders D, and, let's just face facts. Andy Dalton's a much better QB than Chad Henne.
Right, but I love how you squeeze that in there so that, you can kind of get an extra one in, but you don't have to take credit for it if he's bad because, he's not your stud of the week. But if he's great, you did mention him.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Was there an issue there?
Okay.
Professor Spin Doctor.
There you
All
go.
right.
All right. Well, let's get into our duds of the week, Professor. Who is your dud of the week? And are you going to get more than one name in on this too?
No, this is just one, but I'm going real bold here. Drew Brees, dud of the week.
Wow.
Compared to his normal expectations, he will be a dud this week. He's not going to be the number 32 quarterback or anything, but Brees will underperform. It's a tough D.
I got Charlie Batch versus the Browns. The Browns have been playing good defense, and they do get Hayden back this week.
Yeah. Charlie Batch is on his mom's fantasy team, so you have to give her.
You called out Charlie Batch.
I am. Listen, I don't want anyone reaching for Charlie Batch because there's a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans in our area.
Yeah.
And believe me, I've been getting a lot of questions.
I
what do you
noticed
think,
that
Charlie
stat.
Batch? I'm like,
Charlie
what do you
Batch was being picked up off of waiver wires left and right. Who owns Charlie Batch?
His mom does, and his kids do, and and they need that help from the commission.
Listen, Dodd, Charlie Batch, thank you.
That's going to be his I'm the man next week.
Yeah, you know what?
I told you
are giving me harassment for Justin Blackman as a huge stud pull. That's awful.
No, I'll give you. I foresee the future. It'll be his I'm the man. I told you to stay with him, Charlie Batch. All right. Well, what about your sleeper of the week, Commish? Who do you got there?
I'm going to go Andre Brown versus the Green Bay Packers. He continues to be impressive, splitting time with Bradshaw, who only practiced Friday this week, by the way. I like Brown to continue to vulture some touchdowns in this one.
Okay, my sleeper, Chad Henne, period. A, he's not Blaine Gabbert, which is huge in NFL football. And 2, he faces the Titans, who I may have mentioned are not very good against the pass. So he is a great sleeper.
All right. So we got just a couple minutes left. Let's talk about a couple of the matchups and what we think. And let's start with, we did talk a little bit about how only the moms are going to be watching that Carolina-Philadelphia game. But is there anything good? Steve Smith, is there anyone worth even rostering? Why are we watching Monday Night Football?
You can watch the Knitting Channel and have a more exciting Monday night than this game. It's going to be a little bit
it's
painful.
Cyber Monday, isn't it?
It is Cyber Monday. You can go do all your Christmas shopping at Amazon. So, no, I'm not loving that game. There's really not a player on the Eagles side of the ball that I like. I do like Jonathan Stewart to have a nice day, but.
Do you think anyway the Eagles win this game? Because God knows Cam and Newton and the Panthers have shown they can lose just about anything.
Well, that's exactly right. This is an anything can happen. Two bad teams. The movable force against the resistible object. So,
Yes. I think the Eagles do have a shot of winning this one, only because I'm not in love with the pass rush of the Carolina Panthers, and that's where Nick Foles gets into big trouble. So I think the Birds do have a shot. I mean, it could be like a 10-7 kind of game, but I think they have a shot.
It could also be a 27-24, 2 defensive touchdowns each kind of game.
Yes, you never can tell.
All right, and let's talk about that Green Bay Giants game. Big game for the Giants. They really need this one. They need to get up for it, but Green Bay's been looking pretty good. What do you think?
True game of the week. NBC's got to be happy that they don't have Monday night anymore, and that ESPN's got that problem. But, Green Bay is the 500-pound gorilla. They had a bad start, but they have been very solid. They have figured out how to play within their limitations, and the Giants they can be exposed. So I like Green Bay to win this game. There's not a Green Bay player that I wouldn't start. Except for their running backs are a little weak, maybe as a flex. But, the Giants, you never know if Hakeem Nicks is actually going to come out and play. So, there's some issues with the Giants lineup.
Well, you know what? The Giants are coming off a bye this week. So Hakeem Nicks did get to rest. I think he should perform well, of course, with Cruz on the other side. Eli Manning, the tired arm should not be tired anymore and should be able to put up some big numbers against Green Bay. I actually like the Giants in this one.
Do you think the Giants win this one?
Yeah, I do.
Professor?
Really do.
I disagree. I think the Green Bay takes this one and
all right.
knocks the Giants back
Great
down
stuff.
to the pack.
And I tried to squeeze this in at the last moment. Buffalo is playing at Indianapolis earlier. Both of you guys just kind of were still drunk and said Indianapolis at Buffalo. It's the other way.
Yeah.
So anyone out there, Buffalo is at Indianapolis. All right. Well, thanks for listening to the Pick Lillian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I want to thank the professor, Steve Wynn, and the commish, Henry Brick, and of course, our kick-ass producer, Scott Ewing. I'm your host, Matt Lowry, and I want to remind everyone, if you're not playing fantasy football, you're probably spending too much time waiting for Cyber Monday to start, which, against the Eagles, Carolina, I suggest you spend time doing Cyber Monday instead.
Good stuff.